Price in Scotland, our weekly show, which focuses on steering conversations around funding and financing ethnic minority-owned businesses and initiatives here in Scotland. I'm George Starr. Today on the show, I'm joined by John Uwagboe to talk about Uwagboe's Kitchen and Grill, which is based in Edinburgh. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, George. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. It's good to meet you in person because I know we might have met them randomly, but not properly.
Officially.
Oh, not officially. Yes, that's what. So, what made you start a restaurant? I'll come back to the backstory. But first of all, what made you to start the restaurant? And it's a Nigerian themed restaurant.
Yeah, thank you. I think for us, one of the reasons, and I'd always say us because my wife and myself started this. We went on this journey together. Interestingly, it was less than about 6 years ago we started considering something like this for Edinburgh. Edinburgh is where we live, and Glasgow at the time had restaurants, and people would travel, myself included, would travel from Edinburgh to Glasgow to eat at some nice restaurants, and by the time you drive back to Edinburgh, you're hungry.
Yes. Yeah.
So we started to think about why do we not have something in Edinburgh? And one of the interesting story, or the thing that motivated me the most, was when my wife was pregnant. I can't cook to save my life. I must put that disclaimer out there. I couldn't cook for her. I had to fly my in-law from Ireland to come and fulfill my wife's craving at the time. She wanted to eat amala. And everybody in Edinburgh that we know are those kind of caterers that you have to give 3 days notice before you can get food.
So they can take time off work.
Yeah, so they can take time off work to do. So for us, it started to build that sort of fuel in us to say, there is a gap here. People need this. And people want to eat when they want to eat, and most times it is now. So that was one of the reasons why passion as well, wanting people to eat good quality food and not just food, was all of those things put together. When the opportunity came, I think our preparation, it met with preparation.
Met with preparation. I really like that.
And we were on the main street.
Absolutely. You know what? I like this preparation met with preparation. Right? We met the opportunity. Yes, this is the first time I've heard that. But let me say it's really important for me to touch on that, because do you think that is what makes your restaurant really popular?
No, I think there's the God factor there. I won't take that one away. But I think also it is one of the things we went into when we started this was we thought about a number of things. And not just including advertising or marketing, but we sought out making sure that when we start, we will start with quality, and we will remain consistent in our quality. I think one of the things, the word on the street, if you permit me to use that language, is for those people that have come there, is the food is great and the customer service is excellent. Those were the two things that, apart from being authentic, we wanted people to leave with as a review.
Absolutely. And the passion, and you said the story that, excuse me, your wife was craving for food that was not readily available. And in that one, it drives the passion for you to come up with something, a solution, basically. So you found that solution. I'm just thinking, was there kind of a business forecast in the planning, or was it just driven by passion and the fact that the food is not available? Were you thinking that I'm going to make maybe £10,000 a month or this?
No. Genuinely, and I think I always say to people, I don't think I'm a businessman, because before we did this, I've never done business before. I had my career, which was blossoming quite well in the financials. I worked in the bank for almost 12 years. So, and I started quite junior level and rose up the ranks. So I was doing very well. I was comfortable, and so for me, I think one of the things when we were going into this that I had at the back of my mind was I wanted to build a sustainable business. So and that's the key thing for me every time is the things that I look at when we look at where we are today and where we want to be tomorrow. It wasn't about money, because we both left our jobs surprisingly. My wife and I, we left our jobs about 6 months when we opened the takeaway, and before we had done that, I'd saved up. I had a particular savings that would last us for a year and a half in case the business doesn't do well. So for me, I went into it not wanting money from the business, but wanting money for the business to grow itself. And that has been the way we approach it.
And it's interesting that this is your first venture.
It is, yeah.
And the fact that, Bob, you come from a banking background, do you think that's very important as well as, for you to get into business? Because that would have helped you for you to calculate, make the kind of risk calculations.
No, I think it would be unfair to say that, because a lot of people who haven't had any career and just do business, they do very well and do even better than I have done or I'm doing. So I don't think the banking thing was or is the advantage I've had, but I will not discredit what the experience in the bank has given me. Like I said, I started off doing customer service in the bank, and that's fundamental to how I rose up as well in the bank, and it's fundamental to how I treat my customers within the restaurant. They are king. I always say to my staff, I say the paying customer is king. What that means for me is we take account of what the customer is saying in terms of feedback, what they would like to see when they return again, and how they enjoyed their experience. So Uwagboe's Kitchen and Grill was built on a foundation that it is an experience for people to eat authentic food rather than for us to sell food and make money.
Absolutely. It's the experience that you're selling. It's wonderful. It's also a very good niche, because I think, your language that you're using, actually, to be honest, you use more business than than a banker. Because normally when you talk to a banker, they go like, you have to think about the risk and stuff like that. But when you're speaking, it's like, I think everyone can sense that you're talking more business. But I think there's something that might have been, your education and, with the experiences and surrounding as well. At some point, did you think that, obviously you mentioned that you kept saving apart, which could take you for up to a year, and just in case the business failed, but you started off as a takeaway?
Yes,
before actually opening up a venue.
And the reason for that, we never had. So if I walk back to what the vision has been for us, takeaway was never a plan. It became a takeaway because we opened right in the middle of COVID. So I must tell you that experience. So I had found an interesting property which is quite close, very central, very close to Princess Street at the time. Shook hand with the landlord. It was over 3 floors, like this interesting place where you are. The landlord was an existing restaurant that had unfortunately, I think, failed, but the landlord was willing to give it to us. It was great, good price because they were giving us a deal. But it was in the middle of COVID. And straight after we shook hands, agreed on £80,000 a year for a business I'd never done before.
My God, what a calculated risk!
I was willing to take the risk at that time. A few weeks later, the second COVID lockdown happened, and if you can recall, if you were in the UK at that time, it was restaurants that was first closed. So I went back to my drawing board and said, look, I want to really strike now, because I was getting really bored of office politics and my banking job at the time. And it was at that time when I visited what was happening across the economic world, I realized that takeaways were the only ones alongside retail food shops that were allowed to operate. And I said to myself, this is interesting. It would be interesting to sort of try this out actually as a takeaway, cheaper, more reduced risk in terms of operational cost than the £80,000 venue.
Yes.
So we found a space that we bought the lease of the existing business because they were struggling at the time as well. We bought it for about 25k at the time.
Wow.
And then the rent was really cheap as well. It was 1,300 a month. So straight away the cost of going into business reduced for me. And then I was like, at this point the only way is up because everything was already down with COVID.
Of course.
So that was kind of why we started off as a takeaway. COVID sort of enabled our entrance into the market.
Yeah, so the similarities with with your business, Uwagboe's kitchen. We all started the COVID as Jambo Radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we all started in lockdown basically. So, which is quite interesting. I also think that there was a connection there because what COVID presented was to expose the vacuum that the system has created for a very long time.
True.
Jamboree did not exist before then. Uwagboe's kitchen did not exist before then.
That's true.
And it's massively show that there are things, and I think your journey in that as well, looking at places, making that massive saving as well, and starting off this initiative it's wonderful. So, are you making money now?
Yes, I think one of the things I'm happy
I like that
with,
because you are the first person to have said you're making money on this show.
One of the things that I'm happy about is we're able to because if you look at businesses, it's about turnover.
Yes.
We were able to turn over, and our turnover is in 6 figures. So
excellent. Well done.
What's 6 figures again?
Yeah. Well, you're the one from the bank.
Yeah. And I'm happy about that genuinely.
Okay, excellent.
And I'm grateful that.
How many staff have you got?
At the moment, we are just under 20 because we've got 2 locations now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 2 locations.
Yes.
Wow. So within 4 years, the Uwagboe's kitchen has expanded to a second venue.
That's correct, sir.
In Edinburgh. Man, I give you that. Honestly, this is interesting. Yeah, and I'm really, really, really pleased to hear this. This is kind of the stories that this show is created about, and the existence of Jambo Radio is based on this type of story. Because how many times, are you going to go on the business show, in one of the business shows that these good stories will be said? Where people are not waiting for a migrant story to talk about people crossing the boat and all of that. This is wonderful, So I think we generally, I'm genuinely surprised and pleasantly surprised, honestly, to hear that. So let's go back to in terms of your your own personal journey. Coming from the banking background and then jumping into the restaurant, triggered by the fact that your wife was craving for something when she was pregnant, and this brought you your passion. So where do you see this business going?
I think one of the things when I look at our vision board, so we have a vision board, and each time I look at it, I want us to be one of the largest African, or to be precise, Nigerian, authentic Nigerian restaurant that is represented across major cities, first in the UK, and if we're able to do that sustainably, we should be talking about Europe and I want to be one of the global Nigerian restaurant food vendors.
Yeah. Do you think that the concept of do you not think that you're narrowing it just to Nigeria might be a problem? Or you don't find that?
I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a real opportunity because when I look at and I'll tell you a story. So when we started the takeaway, I was quite worried about putting the word Nigerian on the takeaway. So we said at the time, Edinburgh's #1 African takeaway. And but when we were moving into where we are right now, which is a much bigger space, I was very conscious of who we are. And I said, it is a Nigerian restaurant. And the reason for that is I really want us to put Nigeria on the map for good.
Yeah,
it's a real opportunity.
Just like have. Indian restaurants and Chinese.
It's a real opportunity we have.
Yes.
To play our part as Nigerians, to have a good story for Nigerians here in the UK, because there's so many instances or so many stories where people are very quick to call out Nigerians when there's something wrong. And when there's an opportunity for us to showcase ourselves as Nigerians doing good things, we would almost want to now be called Africans or British, whatever.
Black British,
right? Look, it's a Nigerian restaurant. End of story.
Absolutely. You know what? I think it's very clear that you have a vision, you have a mission, you're very clear about your objectives, which is really important. And I have to say that I really applaud you on that as well. It's good in the context that the reason I asked that question is because it's good in the context that the danger of broadening something that you don't know is very bad.
Yes.
That's the thing, because I can link that with some of the inquiries and some of the suggestions that I get here at Jambo Radio is can you people are more interested in visual, in television and stuff like that. Can Jambo Radio not turn into television and stuff like that? Now the cost of running a television studio, it's way better than running 5 of these visual radio studio. If I just run one TV room, not even a studio as such. So I see, but the clear vision is to create a visual a representation of what we do, and for people also to be able to listen and see if they have the opportunity. So you're quite clear. So it's good to define. Do you think that's a very important element to have?
It is.
Define, strategy for your business.
Exactly, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, because one of the things you would find as an entrepreneur is especially when you start to tell people about your business or your dreams or your aspiration, people would always come up with suggestions. People would always come up with, why don't you do it like this? Why don't you, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And I always say to people, especially when I mentor people who want to go into business, I say, look, you need to be very clear on what you want as a business owner, because that is what will sustain your business. If you go by what people are saying every time, you would end up doing so many different things, and the ball will keep moving. So making sure that you know what you want, defining it from the onset. If there's any issue, you would always be able to go back and say, actually, we said we're Nigerian food, so we'll stick to what we know. Yes, that's right. You're listening to Enterprise in Scotland, our weekly business show, focusing on steering conversations around ethnic minority businesses, minorities owned businesses. I have to say that an initiative right here in Scotland. In fact, I'm George Tarr. I'm here in the studio with John Uwagboe, who is you're the founder, or one of the founder. But it's your name, so you carry the responsibility. So you carry the responsibility. That title founder is quite a big one.
Well, I don't know. I could call you creator as well, because you created that. You created that. It's a big. It's a big thing. So, and this venue provides entertainment. It's not just. It's an experience, as you say.
Yeah.
It's not just experiencing the food. It's also the atmosphere that you create there. What made you to think about having that?
I think for us, the ambience was one of the things that we wanted to make sure we get right as well, because when we designed the menu, the recipes for the menu and all of that, we knew we were able to nail that one. We also then wanted not just to design something that is Nigerian, but not for Nigerians alone. So we wanted to be able to attract non-Nigerians to come and enjoy Nigerian food in a Nigerian establishment that is can compare or stand like for like with every other kind of cuisine on Main Street. So ambience was a big thing for us. We wanted to make sure that people would come in, they would sit down, nice seats, tables looking nice, they would eat the food if the opportunity permits them with their hand, because that's how we eat back home. But in a nice place.
Clean environment.
Yeah, in a clean environment. It was really important for us because one of the things and the interesting thing which sort of tells me that we're doing it right is a lot of the time people come to us when they eat at our place, and when they use the toilet they're always surprised, and I'm surprised why people are surprised. And they're surprised that the toilet is clean.
Well, you were not surprised in terms of your plan, but I understand why they're surprised. But you understand why they're surprised.
I kind of understand, but sometimes I forget, and I'm surprised why they're surprised.
Okay, but you're so focused on making it happen. I see. No, absolutely,
And I'm glad that it is working, because for me, one of the things I didn't want I tried to do was build something that was sustainable, because I wanted a situation whereby it's not something we would do for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In January, the 4th, we will be 4 years on the main road in Edinburgh. So
big time.
And I'm trusting God that 8 years down the line, 10 years down the line, we'll be having this conversation.
Listen, the doors are open, and we also hope that we continue to work this way, and use the platform.
True.
And it's also for us to use your space and restaurant for the future things that we also are planning. So I think there's a lot of synergy in this room.
Truly.
I think what those that are watching cannot see is we're actually 5 of us in the studio, but it's just 2 of us that are talking at the moment. So we're going to bring in Fash, Fasoro in a moment to talk about a very exciting event that's coming up. Very exciting 2 very important events. There is a Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent conference and summit. Festival. 3. There are actually 3. Yes. So pardon me. Yeah. So Fash will be talking about that in a moment. Before then, can I just remind you that if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can also download our Jambo Radio app, which is Jambo Radio Scotland, on iOS or Android devices. If you have any of those as well, you can always catch up with the show later on if you missed it, or if you're in a rush, you can also catch up with the show on our website. Just go to our website and click on the catch up menu. And for those of you that are listening on DAB, we are available in Glasgow DAB and also Edinburgh DAB. Looking at expanding, we're Dundee is asking, Aberdeen is asking. So we'll gradually will get there, and slowly and surely. But I think I want to align the fact that both our entities are of same age, and the vision that you have is so aligned with what we're also thinking. And you just hear me saying that we started off being only in online. being an online radio. We're pushing our app. Then we're on DAB in Glasgow, and then Edinburgh popped in. We've not done much in Edinburgh, which is one of the things that we're going to discuss about. You know, off cameras and off the microphone, we're going to talk business. But for now, John, thank you so much. I wanted to touch on the fact that, in the business right now,
yes,
you have, 20 employees. Are they full-time?
Yeah, we have most of them full-time. I think one of the things that has helped us as an organization, I think we talked about this briefly just before we came in, was we were quite intentional on how we wanted to make the business grow. So when we started off, we were able to cut our costs or manage our cost and say we will do it as a family. But as we saw that the demand started to grow and we needed more employees, we aligned ourselves with what was legal. We worked with lawyers, got the sponsorship license, and brought in chefs from abroad.
That's why the food is so authentic.
Yes.
And I want to say, if I don't give this shout out, I'm going to get into problem. It's one of your friends who has come to the restaurant, and he was telling me, I'm just going to quickly find his name here. I told him that you're coming on the show, and he said to me, listen, if you don't give me a shout out, I'm going to cancel. Nick, it's Nick. Oh no! The other one. Listen, I'll find a name. So is your wife working in the business at the moment, or she's looking after the baby?
No, she works in the business as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So she is the executive head chef.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Shearer.
Yes. We worked together at Scottish government.
Right, yeah. So he said to me, listen, if you meet John, you have to make a shout out. So I met him I went to a data summit. We were talking about data summit. We're going to come into that. But I met him I went to a data summit, data and technology summit, and here in Glasgow, and I met him there, and we just got talking, and he said to me, have you been to Uwagboe's restaurant in Edinburgh? I said, how do you know that? He said, because I've been. The food is wonderful.
More than once.
I said, I said to him, I'm actually asking John to come on the show. And he said to me, well, when you meet with John, say, that's why I was trying to check his name out. Thank you, Nick. It's really good. So, so this is, Nick is a Scottish guy. So just to put it in context for those that are just listening, Nick is a Scottish guy. And, very connected with the community, and he has been in the restaurant to have that experience, and actually recommended me an African to the restaurant. You can imagine that, so it's quite interesting. But it's wonderful. So how can people obviously check it out? I know the restaurant, you've got the website now, which people can place their orders. The takeaway is coming up as well, home delivery.
So what we do in terms of our operations at the moment, we've got the dining options, so people can walk in, either book a table or walk in. Thankfully, we have a sitting coverage for over 120. So even if you don't have a booking, I'm sure we can find somewhere for you to sit down and eat. You can come in for a takeaway by yourself in terms of collection, or you can order on any of the platforms. We partner with Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and Just Eat. You can order through any of those platforms for a delivery straight to your house, and or we offer also catering. So we do one of the things that we are focusing on right now is corporate catering. So we cater for corporate activities, corporate events. We do events as well, that are not corporate. On Thursday, we celebrated a wedding reception right there in the premises, which was amazing to see. Saturday, we had a 50-year-old surprise birthday happen as well. So it's a great place for so many things to happen at once. So and like I say to Nigerians and people when they walk in, I said, this is our place, right? We have been looking for a place for a long time. We have a place now, let's use it.
Yes, absolutely. You know what? Again, I cannot stop applauding, your effort and your drive as well. So it's wonderful to hear the story, John. Now let's bring in Fash Fasoro, who is the CEO of Data Cook, and Fash is Data Cook is basically organizing a Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Festival. Summit and Festival, yes, Summit and Festival, and that will be taking place in on the 31st of October.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's going to take place from 28th of October
28th of October
of November. It has never been done, but we're ready.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's a 5 days event. 5 days event.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you run us through, what will be happening?
So on the 28th, it's going to be the opening session for the Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit and Festival. Then we're going to have it a low-key on that day. Then on 29th, we have 2 major events happening in Edinburgh. Our partners, Fandwell, will be hosting about how to get into tech career, and it's going to be around 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Then Data Cook, an entrepreneurial builder and tech scaler and Scottish enterprise, we are going to be hosting an event as well. It's about African and Scottish entrepreneurial ecosystem pipeline. What does that mean? How do you have the next Uwagboe in terms of food industry? How do we create a synergy between we Africans and the Scottish ecosystem? Because as I know, the African ecosystem is growing. If we use example of Nigeria alone, we've been able to produce unicorn companies that are bigger than Scotland.
Yeah.
But how many Scottish businesses are aware of that? Then when we're looking at in terms of the talent from Africa, we have the working age population globally.
Yep.
So in terms of the global majority, we are forced to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But many ecosystems around the world focuses on Silicon Valley. But we are here to say, if you don't reckon with us, you are going to miss in terms of
the train. Yes.
That is the essence of the fringe event we are hosting on the 29th. Then on the 30th, we have our own, the former President of the Chancellors of Housing, Lara Oyedele, want to come and expose how we can build resilience in job hunting. Sometimes you apply for your first 100 jobs, you may not be successful. That should not deter you from, forging ahead. So she is here to share our experience, insight into what we need to do to be able to have a success story. Then on the 31st, we're going to have the summit. We are expecting 400 delegates. So the lineup is super this year. We have the MD of Morgan Stanley, Vida is coming. We have several professors, doctors, and many of our talents are going to feature on the 31st, and it's going to be in Edinburgh at Heart of Midlothian.
Heart of Midlothian, yes.
Yeah, Tynecastle Park. Then on the 2nd, we'll be coming to Glasgow for the first time, where we're going to have close to 1,000 people demonstrating their culture, showcasing their talent.
It's a carnival.
It's a carnival.
Yes, but indoor carnival.
Indoor. If you have your attire, I know it's going to be cold, but we know how to warm ourselves.
No. So, with the dancing, the dancing.
If you want to come and see me in my agbada, and I'll be, rolling everything I've got. Yeah, don't miss it.
You'll be racketeering.
I will be Pakrumoko Jodada. Yeah, so it's going to happen on that day.
Yes.
Yeah. One interesting thing about the festival is not just about Africa; it's about ethnic minorities. So we have partners from the Mongolia, from the Indian, from Pakistani, from all ethnic minority across Scotland. We are going to come together. We want to hear our voices. Enough of poverty issue, enough of this society is not for it. This is our home, and we must not forget about our heritage, and that's what we want to celebrate on that day. So if you are listening to me and you are a talent and you want to feature get across to us or speak to Jambo Radio, because Jambo and Uwagboe is also going to cook for us. So it's about a team.
Yeah.
So the food is from Uwagboe.
Wonderful. The food on the second.
Yes, it's from Uwagboe.
Absolutely. That's great. I think it's just touched on the aspect of collaboration, and also the aspect of collaboration and working together, building finding a synergy, and how we can connect with all these things. Jambo Radio is partnering with for this event with you guys, because we know that it's not just only about the exhibition, but it's also trying to push the fact that we can build better relationships in terms of the different entities, and find the connections and where it is, where we can work together. Fash, you are in the space of data, and there's quite a lot of people from our community that are working in that sector and things like that. And I know you train a lot of people through Data Cake, and you provide all these different trainings and stuff like that. What barriers are you seeing in terms of, and what barriers are you trying to remove through Data Cake?
We are working with a lot of challenges, I have to say. We have what we call systemic barriers. When we have people to reskill or upskill, we have to look at it from the area of confidence. Many people are afraid of numbers, but if you listen to me, I would say, if I can do it, I took a career break in 2015. I go as a mature student to go back to University of Sterling, big data, and I did it. If I tell you the age to go back, if you are young or old, data provide an opportunity for us in globally. If you can work with data, you will be able to navigate your journey anywhere in the world. And that is it. So confidence is an issue, but there are a lot of platforms now that you don't even need to be tech savvy to go into data. You may not necessarily be a programmer. We have data administrator, we have data steward.
So you don't have to know programming software.
You don't need to. You just need to be able to speak, to read and communicate the language of data, which is information.
And how big is that sector in terms of the opportunities that are available there?
The industry is one of the key sectors of the economy. So we are talking about $1 million industry. So last few weeks, I was in London, and I was amazed at the big data London to see the trajectory of the industry. So if you want to go into generative AI, which is coming from Data Corp next year, we're starting what we call generative AI after school club. So the industry is amazing and it's wonderful.
After school club, that's a really good initiative as well, because I think it is basically, after school club it will be a program for young people, isn't it? So
it's not only for young people. We're going to introduce to adults because we are not well represented in the key growth sector. For example, if you recall when we started with all these biometric British passports, 7 out of 10 times, if you're an ethnic minority, your photograph will be rejected because of our recognition was not well captured. It was not well represented in the data. So we need a lot of us to go into those industry and change the diversity of thought that we need in that economy. We need to be there.
We need to be there. What you do with Data Cake as well is very inspiring, and I know quite a lot of people that have passed through your training and doing really well. The mentoring as well, and even just the support in that space is also really wonderful. So this is the second year that the Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit.
It's the third year.
It's the third year?
Yeah.
Where was I in the first one?
2022.
Because I know I was in the second one.
Jambo Radio was our media partner in 2022.
Oh, okay.
You were there. So we
So was that absent last year?
It was there. Did it last year. Last year we had what we call Scottish Black Talent Summit and Career Fair.
Right.
So we evolved because of we were challenged by a couple of our partners and colleagues to say, why are you leaving us behind? We are part of this industry, so let's work together. And we evolve to ethnic minority, but we are not forgetting our heritage.
No, of course.
So that is so important. But this is the third year we've been doing this.
So this third year now, you've included a festival. The first year was without the festival.
The first year was just one day. Last year, 2023, was 2 days event, and this year is 5 days event.
You're brave, but it's good. I've seen the lineup and the number of speakers that will be coming in there. I think it's a unique opportunity for not just networking, but it's a unique opportunity for people to come and learn, especially young people that are starting out in the career, looking for opportunities, looking to hear thing. Because I also think sometimes this opportunity be presented is also where people if young person that is not well guided could go there thinking that they're just going to get a job, and it's never like that. It's to build a relationship, finding those people that it could be. John, the thing that I wanted to, let me just ask you this before I go back to Fash. We've talked about how you've grown your business, but I think one of the things that we've not touched on is, are you financing that yourself, or are you getting any support from the system?
Thank you. It's a good question. We are the long and short is it's self-financed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and I think one of the things that over time when I speak to people, people like my Oga here, is how do businesses benefit from grants or finances? Because even though you look at me and say I worked in the bank, you would think I'm that. I should know better. It's not a banking thing at all. So I have started finding out, and I like one of the things I've learned here today from Mr. Fash speaking is reskill.
Reskill.
He made a comment. He said reskill because there's something we do as black people is when we know, we think we've known, and we don't want to reskill. So one of the reskilling I am doing is finding out how to access those sort of fundings that are available for businesses like myself, because if we do, it would help the business grow faster. It would accelerate the things we're doing.
Accelerate, yeah, absolutely, and that will come down to social impact. Fash, I think your drive is more impact, social impact based. Is that what Data Kirk, and then obviously with this initiative of the Scottish ethnic minority talent.
Yeah, we are set up as a social enterprise, a charity, predominantly to increase the representation of our community in the key growth sector, and it's about impact. You guys talk about passion. If you are not passionate about what is going on in the community, you cannot do what we are doing. So if it's just about money, you will run dry within a few days, because the money is not always there. You have to know how to work without grant, so otherwise the charity will collapse. But one thing I will also emphasize here is when we talk about the ecosystem in terms of financial support, it is extremely difficult for projects like ours because of the technicality involved, because many grant assessors may not necessarily know what is data, what is AI, so they are more likely to fund what they are used to. And that's the thing we are here to disrupt. And we can't do it without working together. So I'm living here telling John we are starting something together. I'm living here telling Jambo we are doing things together. The more we can collaborate, the better for the community we are serving.
Absolutely.
Because when you look at my numbers, it's the same number with John. It's the same number with the impact is the same people we are working with. So if we can create a alliance that is powerful, that touch the life and every nooks and cranny of Scotland, the better for all of us, and we will do it together.
No, absolutely, you're right, because we need to create that connections where every little bit that we do, because we have different strengths in terms of all the entities. With those entities means we have the ability to do a lot more better, to make more impact, not just within our community, but for the society as a whole, because there are people that will come through our entities. They're not necessarily coming from our community or our background, but they, we have, it's a young guy here that comes in for training. He's still in college, but he's come through a friend who, he doesn't come from our community or our background, but he's coming through a friend that's also training here. So that as well, because the friend that's trained here, went to college, he's performing really well, and then his friend asked him, where did you get all these skills from? And he said, no, I got it from Jambo Radio. And he said, oh, take me there. And then the guy came here. So he's training now, so that he can compete with his friend. So those are the things that are happening. Those are the reality of life that might not be seen, and it's okay for the mainstream media to talk about immigration or spend their whole day talk about immigration and boat crossing and stop the boat and whatever they're talking. But the point here is all this drive of what we're doing is important, that we work collaboratively. So I'm really pleased with all the opportunities that both your entities are presenting for Jambo Radio and what Jambo Radio can bring on board as well. If I don't sell my market, I have to use the opportunity. So let's go back to the activities that are coming up. I don't know, Chooks, if you have anything to contribute, but it's so important that we talk about the summit and also the festival. Now, with the festival, what are you intending to achieve?
We have talent that are not known. It's an opportunity for us to create spotlight for emerging talent in the community. The creative sector is very, very competitive. And you may be somewhere in Fife, you may be somewhere in Alua, you may be somewhere in Scottish border, and you got something. That instead of Uwagboe to be paying £2,000 a week, you can compete and come out and we blow you up. That is the language. We want to blow as many people as possible on that day.
It's an opportunity for talent, upcoming creatives, to exhibit themselves.
Exactly.
Is that just in music or
performance? We have DJs that are going to perform. We have fashion show. If you're a model, come. We have a gala competition. Our wives are going to be challenged because we have people who are going to compete with head wrap. How can you turn the head of a man with your style? It's going to happen. And on that day, we have what we call speed dating. We have loads of our sisters that are looking for the bones, and the bones are also looking for the flesh. So the opportunities are going to be there for us to connect. So it's just we want to create connections.
So it's second. Sorry, I'll just get your attention there, Baron. Sorry, I'm just checking. The 2nd of November, is it? But let me see.
It's on Saturday.
It's a Saturday,
and we're going to start at 11 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night time. And here in Glasgow.
Why I'm asking that is because we have a show here that Baron produces. It's a Saturday. It's a Friday night show called Made in Scotland. They have different artists coming in and performing. In fact, I think yesterday they had a different one. They had different artists performing. I think they should be able to record something at the event, with the producer. So we'll talk to the guys, and I think they can record one of their episodes at the event. That's because they can bring the different artists at this event. But I'm sure that I'll check out with them. With the
Jambo,
team.
you are our media partner, so it's up to how we work it out together. Opportunity exists. Join us.
No, absolutely. Let's talk it on air so that people know that we're actually saying it. It's on record as well.
Jambo Radio is a media partner of the Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Festival coming on the 2nd of November in Glasgow.
Yes, absolutely. It's wonderful. I think we still got a bit of time that you can pop into the studio as well to talk about that. One of the things that I identified, John, was the entertainment space in your restaurant. would be good, for us to talk about something that through as our music, talent-based programs, we can utilize that, because creating this platform, because one of the things that I know that is which is a barrier for most of our talents in the community, is not having much exposure. And because those platforms are missing, Jambo is one. How do they come to the first to the summit and take place, the festival? How do they engage with the restaurant to be able to have regular appearances, so that it builds up their value? Otherwise, you just waste their talent. So what time is it now? It's coming up for 5 minutes to 12. We've got 5 more minutes in the studio, and I'm still here talking to John Uwagboe, who is the founder and creator, I want to say, of the wonderful restaurant of Uwagboe's Kitchen and Grill based in Edinburgh, and Fash Fasoro, who is the CEO of Data Kirk and organizing the Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit and Festival this year, which is a very important event for our community. And we also joined in the studio with Chooks. Chooks, I saw you've been very quiet. I've told people that you are here.
Oh, thank you very much.
It might contribute off camera, but that's fine.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, John. And George, John and Fash. I'm so pleased to be here and hearing some of the insight and wonderful conversation of how you started and what you are doing to not just to make money, but also just to make impact in our community. Like what John highlighted, we have come here to stay. This is our home, and we have to take every opportunity and to build the next generation of Fash and next generation of John Uwagboe, and George also is so important in our community. But what I want to touch a little bit about is our festival. The festival is it's not just a platform for celebration, but it's an opportunity to celebrate our contribution to the economy. Like what you mentioned, the negative part of our community tends to run very viral, but what we contribute to the economy are just missing. Nobody talked about it. We are contributing a lot into the economy, and we don't want to wait for anybody to celebrate us. We want to celebrate our contribution, our unique diversity, or what we bring to the table to the economy, and creating a safe space for everyone to come and join and circulate their talent is what we are talking about. And it's not about, this is just a movement to change the scenario that ethnic minority community is very critical for the future of Scotland, because we have a young community that is growing. So it's so important that we have to push those narrative out and let them know that this is what we are and this is what we can do. So in terms of what you mentioned about collaboration, is very key. And one of the things I'm thinking, which I share most time with Fash, is about how do we replicate yourself, John and Fash and many other key stakeholders in community. It's so important. We need to create a platform. It's not just about me alone. It's about collaboration. It's about building next generation of minority that will take over this world. And if you're looking at our numbers, we are growing. How do we prepare these young people for the future to make sure that they can do much better than what we are doing? It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. You're very right. And it's also kind of what you say, passing on the mantle, or and relaying that, who is going to be running Uwagboe's Kitchen in the next 10 years. True. If you're not there, if you decide now, okay, you can pull out, and say, what, I'm just gonna focus on something else, and upskill and start doing something else. True. What will happen? So it's that kind of thing. Who is next, to be a manager or run of that?
Exactly. It's something I'm talking about at the moment, because everything I've got time and season. And what is your exit strategy?
Exactly.
So if we fail, you are going to do it forever. You are just joking. So it's always good.
I've actually passed the timeline that I gave myself to be at the top of Jambo Radio, just because of the bit of a transition. But I've I think I shouldn't be at the top of the job already.
Exactly.
And I'm working on that. I'm
Yeah,
talking to a
yeah.
lot of people. We're trying to build, a team around where somebody can, can do that, and trying to also mentor people that can be in charge.
That is exactly what
So I
we're
don't
doing
have
at
to
the
be here.
Data Corp. We have people we're building, and you guys should not be surprised when you see a new CEO, a new leader for the Data Corp, because that is exactly what we need to do.
Yeah.
We have a partner, which very popular partner in Scotland, and opportunity came. The CEO left, and the whole company was in trouble because there was no succession plan. We should be talking about your succession plan as soon as possible. It could be in 5 years, it could be in 6 years. Have that plan. Be training some other people to take over from you. It's so important in this society.
And just to end, before we just end, I think we're running out of time a little bit. Fash, is this all driven by how do you fund all of these activities? And
we are very grateful for the talent that we have within the team. We rely on grant, we rely on contract, and we also go for competitive tendering. So like John mentioned, you have to understand the complexity of running a business. If you just relying on Scottish government grant, there's 20 billion hole in the economy at the moment. So if the government is not able to fund it, what's going to happen? So we have to be tactical, we have to be prudent, and we have to understand how to run the charity or your venture in a way to be sustainable.
Thank you very much, Fash Fasoro. You had the last word, the CEO of Data Cake. John Uwagboe, who is the I would call it creator. Don't know what was your title of the restaurant?
I call myself the director.
The director, okay. The director of Uwagboe's Kitchen and Grill based in Edinburgh. Thank you as well, Chicks, for coming into the studio. It's been a wonderful morning. We've run out of time, no conversation. That's it for this week. I'm George Starr. Next week, we are on Enterprise in Scotland, 11 a.m. to 12.
You are listening to Jump